There is a crack in my channel's walls. Girls, I don't know what you were doing yesterday, but I want you to fix this after the show. Seriously, this thing's spooky looking, and I think I heard screams earlier. Ah, well, we have an episode to analyze. Get the cameras rolling, get the microphones, come on. So, we finally get to meet one of Pinkie's sisters, and wow. While I wasn't expecting her to be a second Pinkie Pie, you'd think she'd at least have some emotions. She's just so dull. Maud couldn't laugh if some pony tickled her with the fluffiest feather in all Equestria. But then, why do I like her so much? This episode is very much a slow boil, with pacing slowed down to probably match Maud's personality, which kinda works, since at the same time, Pinkie and the others are such a contrast that they seem to be just bouncing off the walls to try and speed Maud up. Maybe it's because of my sense of humor, but Maud's deadpan delivery of everything, no matter what emotion should be there, consistently got chuckles, if not outright laughs. All throughout the episodes, I was waiting for the pin to drop. I was waiting for something that would explain why Pinkie attributed all these traits to Maud without any evidence that she was actually like that. Like having the others walk in on her and Pinkie doing something Pinkian, I suppose the word would be, floofy hair and all. I'm not afraid to admit that when Twilight and the gang thought the problem was with them and not with Maud, I took it as them thinking the same thing. The episode starts off at Sugar Cube Corner, at least I think it's Sugar Cube Corner. It looks different than usual, and doesn't Pinkie live there? Did Pinkie get a house at some point? Either way, Pinkie has taken over the entire place to make rock candy. And I mean the entire floor. If this is actually Sugar Cube Corner, then the main six had to enter through a side door, it looked like, and the rocks just straight up cover every surface. Where's Mr. and Mrs. Cake during all this? Wouldn't they have had some sort of problem with their entire bakery being covered in rocks? And candy or no, Pinkie even says these are actual rocks. Edible rocks. See, Equestria just gets more and more appealing every damn day. I could live with weekly catastrophes if the rocks were made out of candy. It also explains just why a rock farm is even profitable if they can cultivate rocks like these. I'd imagine that it'd be a cheap way for your everyday pony to keep their kids quiet. That is, unless all candy is in rocks. The technology level of Equestria seems to fluctuate depending on the day, but candy, or at least the word, goes back as far as the 13th century and is sugar melted into syrup and then hardened. We know that the ponies have technology beyond that of the 13th century. But what if the existence of these rocks made it so they didn't need to develop candy creation techniques, and the sweet stuff is mined just like any other precious stone? It's not much to do with the episode, but it's a fun little thought experiment. Equestria is not our world after all, as it's obvious enough, and finding things that work differently between our world and the shows is always fun. It also proves that Bonbon's talent is absolutely worthless. Ha! Looks like now we know why you're stuck with Lyra. I've said this before, but I don't watch any of the previews that are posted around the internet. I don't know what they gave away, but I went into this episode blind, and from Pinkie's description of her sister, I don't know what I expected. A pony as kind as Fluttershy, honest as AJ, awesome as Rainbow Dash, as fashion-conscious as Rarity, and as smart as Twilight? Pinkie laid out an impossible standard for her sister to meet, and it made me incredibly curious to see what we'd see from her. Maybe she'd have a complex, or be quiet, or be the opposite of Pinkie. I was correct on the last one, though not in the way I expected. Maud is slow, reserved, deliberate, and colorless. She is a rock. She is literally a rock. And unfortunately, the only character we know that's good with rocks is Pinkie Pie. She smashes AJ's apples and has no taste in cider, cares nothing for Fluttershy's animals, doesn't read anything she didn't write herself, and what she writes is terrible. She has no taste in clothing, and doesn't like winning, which ticks off Rainbow Dash. In fact, the girls try everything they know to try and befriend Pinkie's sister, but in the end, they make absolutely zero progress on that front. Of course, Pinkie isn't about to let her best friends and her BBSFF, see what I did there, not be friends, so she designs a a race course that features things that each member of the group enjoys doing. Of course, the group is less than thrilled with it. I mean, look at that thing. It looks designed to kill ponies. Like a euthanasia coaster. Speaking of euthanasia coasters, that seems to be its purpose, as Pinkie just about died at the rock part, getting caught in a rock slide. This causes Maud to jump into action, absolutely pulverizing the rocks and saving her sister. And good lord, does that hug count as an emotion? Maud has emotions. But the emotions don't stop there. Pinkie goes back to the rock farm and we get a little bit of an expanded look at the rock farm and its surrounding area. Good lord, it's like if Tim Burton got high and watched the Flintstones. It's just depressing, and all I could think was, Pinkie Pie came from here? You'd think after however long it took Pinkie to grow old enough to leave home, they'd at least figure out how to make their homes a little bit less depressing looking. Somehow Twilight and the gang managed to beat the train to Bedrock, and yes, that's what I'm going to call it. They also managed to find the farm the Pies manage before the two mares that grew up there can even show up, all the while carrying several heavy-looking bags of rock candy. Magic, right? In the end, everyone learns a valuable lesson. Just because you can't befriend someone's other friends doesn't mean you aren't connected through your friendship with that person. The rest of the main six may not get along with Maud, but they love Pinkie, and would move mountains for her if they needed to. That's some powerful stuff right there. Oh, and Maud smiles at the end, for the first time ever. I'm surprised her snout didn't fall off from a sudden muscle contraction. The fact that the writers went the complete opposite of what I expected was a welcome change, and I love stories that throw twists like that. I came in expecting a hidden party lover, and instead I got Kristen Stewart's pony form. Which, of course, is a bit cruel to the character, since in the end it's shown that Maud does care for Pinkie Pies and actually can smile when she wants to. Not to mention, she is very, very good with rocks. My main problem is that, for an emotionless character, Maud isn't handled all that well. Most of the times I laughed, it was because she didn't work. She was incredibly awkward, and most of her comedic potential is wasted throughout the episode. I mean, her rock poetry? She couldn't have come up with anything better than that. She actually thought that was poetry? But now that I think about it, maybe that was the point. Maybe she was supposed to not work. It does make the lesson strike truer when the character that helps teach it is so different from what we've accepted as the norm. That's probably why it doesn't kill the episode for me, but it would have helped if Pinkie's description of her had been at least a little tiny bit correct. Or if she hadn't brought the episodes already slow paced to an absolute crawl whenever she had to walk somewhere. I mean, this walk cycle gag goes on for far too long. It starts being funny a few seconds in, and it could have been cut with a transition or something else to make time pass, and it would have had the same effect. But other than small nitpicks like that, Maud's a one-off character one will likely never see again, and the first non-emotive pony in the series. Did I expect perfection? No, especially since this is Noelle Benvenuti's first time writing an episode. The moral was excellent and the delivery was great. The main six figured out by themselves and somehow beat a train to a rock farm. Ah well, can't have everything. Overall, I've got to say that I really enjoyed this episode. It isn't my favorite of the season, but it is kind of up there. Maud is an interesting character, but she could have been handled better. Oh, other than that, I'd say, yeah, all around, good episode. Well done. Well done. And that has been Maud Pie. Once again, I am Nozovix, and if you want to see more MLP analysis, or just looking at episodes or the things around the MLP universe, please like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and also you can follow my Tumblr at askthecmcanalysts.tumblr.com. It should be linked in the annotation somewhere on your screen right now. The CMC set it up for me because I don't do tumbles. I don't tumble. I'm not a tumbling pony. No. Other than that, there's this crack in my ceiling. I don't know exactly what it's... Oh. That's not good. Apple Bloom, shotgun please! Apple Bloom, shotgun!
You got your cutie mark!
What are you three talking about? I already had my QD mark. Well, that's strange.